Hello, and welcome to another edition of Your Bridge to Addiction Resources. My name is Yvonne Stroman. I'm with the Council on Chemical Abuse. This program is hosted and sponsored by the Council on Chemical Abuse. With me this morning as a guest, I'd like to bring to your attention, and if you would introduce yourself.
Bob Schwartz.
Now, Bob and I have been friends for a long, long time, but Bob, for the purposes of this program, what's your position at the Council on Chemical Abuse?
I'm an independent gambling consultant and contractor.
Okay, and so let's talk a little bit about what you do at the council as a contractor as it relates to gambling. I know that there has been some stories in the news about gambling. I know that recently there was an article as well as news about a family, husband and wife, that had gone to the casino to go gambling, and they actually left their young children in the car. When you heard about this news story, did it surprise you at all?
No, not at all.
Why not?
Been there and done that.
Been there and done that.
Yeah.
So can you share with us a little bit about how that story might have impacted you in any way? Any thoughts? Any?
Well, first of all, I am a person in long-term recovery. I am a recovering alcoholic, drug addict, and compulsive gambler. Of course, I am the face with Council on Chemical Abuse. I lived the life of a compulsive gambler for 25 years. So that story, what length we're willing to go to be in action, to place a bet, I can't say that I ever left my kids in a car, but I certainly abandoned my children emotionally and in many other ways, and actually wound up in a divorce because of my gambling addiction.
So you've had some consequences, some immediate consequences as it relates to your gambling problem. What happened initially when you first made that bet? Did you see it as anything that was harmful?
No, not at all. Matter of fact, I was 20 years old, and I was working as an apprentice printer at the Reading Eagle Times, making like $1.50 an hour, making $50 a week, and playing football tickets. $1. Trying to pick 4 teams, and I could always get like 3 out of 4 right, but I never that 12 thing was able to get 4 out of 4. And one day, my brother-in-law says, "Hey, I know this bookmaker. You only have to bet 1 game." I said, "Well, anybody can pick one team. I mean, that's a piece of cake." And so I bet. He said, "But you got to bet at least $25 on the game." So that's half my paycheck, And I made that bet. And the worst thing ever could have happened for me was I won, and next thing I know, I'm making more money gambling than I am going to work, and I just was off to the races. The $25 bet, I made my first bet with that bookmaker at age 20 for $25, and by the time I was 45, I was betting as much as $25,000 on one football game. So you talk about progression, that's where addiction, my gambling addiction, took off.
And so you also found along the way, I heard you say that you're a person in long-term recovery, and so for you the gambling and the drinking kind of went hand in hand. You're at the roulette wheel and the alcohol is available?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I call it the casino. Once I walked in there, I call it the arena. I get devoured by the lions, the drinking and the women and the drugging, and I mean it's just all tied hand in hand. And I was called, when I tell my story a lot of times, gambling was my 24/7 drug. I thought about being in action 24/7. If you put a drink in front of me, I drank it. Put a drug in front of me, I did it. But I needed to be in action 24/7. I never committed a crime to support my drinking. I never committed a crime to support my drug addiction, but I could tell you enough crimes that I've committed, enough acts that I should have never committed to support my gambling addiction, that I could have been spending a lot of time in prison.
Yeah. So you've now turned your life around, and now today you're working as a contractor with the Council on Chemical Abuse. So what services are you providing to kind of alert individuals as it relates to problem gambling and more, anything additionally in terms of the help that they can get?
Well, my partner, Mike Reese, him and I, we get set up with different opportunities. We have been at several speaking with Encore and the elderly people, because there's no doubt that the casinos, they're not going after the young generation. I mean, they're not working. They don't have a nest egg. They're going after the people who have worked 40, 50 years of their life, got their life savings, and there are people who are targeted. We're making them aware of the fact. I mean, in my Gamblers Anonymous meeting, we have two ladies in their 70s, their husbands passed away, and there was a void. They had never taken care of the money. They're grieving, and next thing you know, the next door neighbor, a family member, a church, somebody invites them to the casino, and they go. Less than 2 years later, both these ladies had lost the life savings. They had foreclosed on their home, and they're living with their children. They'll never be able to recoup their losses, and they're devastated. And and then on the other hand, we also go into a lot of like EDI, Camp Joy. Last night, Mike and I were at the YMCA, 2 different programs there, talking with the people who are in those halfway houses because of addictions. Identifying mainly their alcohol and their drug problem, and all of a sudden, wow, I can't drink and I can't drug. So what do I do for fun now? Well, let's start doing some rub balls. I can't pay my rent, but I'll spend $50, $100 a week doing rub balls and playing the lottery. So it's a lot of awareness that, okay, now because I personally know quite a few people who are in long-term recovery from alcohol and drugs or an eating disorder or whatever, and now the gambling part is like with the smoking is an acceptable thing, and now the replacement data, but the insanity and the unmanageability and the devastation and the effects that it has on your relationships with other people is the same.
Yeah, and I was going to say, as you were talking, it sounds like folks are looking for a void to fill, kind of an emptiness to fill, and so they turn to gambling just by nature of the perception about, it's not necessarily that harmful, but what I hear you saying is it can really ruin you, not only monetarily, but also disrupt your family.
Yeah, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I mean, gambling took me to a suicide attempt, November 15th, 1993, in a motel room in Atlantic City. Owing tons of money to the bookmakers, ripping off the drug dealers to pay the bookmakers, and I was at that spot many other times in my life, but that night I was just totally 45 years old. I'm exhausted. I don't want to overcome a situation. And, I thought the only solution was to kill myself. And I wrote 3 suicide notes out to my children. I injected myself with enough chemicals to kill 10 people. And I'm here by the grace of God. I wound up in a hospital, and the rest is history. I got help. I got treatment. I went to a treatment center in Ephrata called the Terraces at that time. And my journey began. So I'm very active with the gambling community because, like I say, a lot of people, they take a look at their other addictions, but the gambling is kind of like put on the back burner.
And I was going to ask you, it sounds like that individuals might say, well, I'm an alcoholic or I'm a drug addict, but I'm not ready to share with you about my gambling problem. And is that a reason because they're not aware of it, or because that's something that they really want to hold on to? Don't take everything away from me. Don't take away all of my problems, but I'll hold on to this because I just want to keep this near to me.
Yeah, I think it's my money. Don't tell me what to do with my money. If I want to lose my money. But the trouble is when you cross the line into compulsive gambling from a social gambler, you don't only lose your money. You start to lose other people's money. The credit cards, it snowballs, out of control.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So what is the one thing that you would like folks that are watching this to know about problem gambling?
Well, the number one thing is where it can take you. Like social drinker, problem drinker into alcoholism, and the same thing with gambling. A social gambler, a problem gambler, a compulsive gambler, and like I said, the mental anguish, the mental torture that can come upon you. And we all would like to have a couple extra dollars than what we have right now. But, somewhere along the line, I just lost the value of the dollar, like most gamblers do, and you just get out of control, and you'll go to any length to get that next bet.
Yeah. Well, certainly, Bob, I want to thank you for taking the time to come and talk with us about the problem of gambling that's occurring in Berks County, and more importantly, the intervention services that are available. Yes. And so to find out more about problem gambling, you're welcome to visit us at our website at www.cocaberks.org, or give us a call at 610-376-8669. Thank you.
Check back every week for a new story with your Bridge to Addiction resources. You can call 610-376-8669 or visit online at cocaberks.org. COCABERKS.org. Be sure to like and follow the Council on Chemical Abuse on Facebook and Twitter.